So you could say that you like really love extreme weather in a way, or
not even the extreme weather, just you know, the change is what really gets me, which is why mountain environments really fascinate me, because you know, you have that dramatic change from the surface up to the summit. But you know, just all weather really fascinates me, and I just love that change when I'm out in it. So
do you think just from your experience with working with instrumentation and doing, you know, in-person weather observing, that there'll ever be a time when there doesn't have to be anybody down here at the South Pole doing any?
At the South Pole, it all depends on how accurate people want their information. If a pilot really wants an accurate observation, there will always be weather observers down here. If the community wants really accurate weather data, there'll always be people down here.
So machines will never be as accurate as
it depends. It depends on what statistic you're looking for. If you're looking for temperature, yeah. If you just have someone down here to knock the snow off the equipment every now and then, temperature will always be accurate. Pressure will always be accurate. As long as the equipment is maintained, it'll be good. But then you have certain things like visibility, visibility and ceiling, and what precipitation's occurring outside. If you want accurate details on what's going on in those categories, then yeah, you need people down here, and that stuff's pretty important for flights. So I don't see the manned station going away anytime soon down here. It just depends on how accurate people want their information.
And what was I gonna? There was something related to that. Oh shoot! Oh yeah, and also this thing with the elevation affecting how it feels. I mean, I think that's just kind of one interesting example how a lot of what weather information that comes out or prediction also has to do with what is it going to feel like.
Yeah, exactly. So, and what you feel like down here is much more. It's more of a presence in everyday life than it is anywhere else in the world that I've been, anyway. And for instance, what you're referring to is the physio altitude, and down here our elevation is 9,306 feet. But what that feels like on your body, for instance, today our physio altitude is 10,500 feet, and that's because the air is thinner at the poles, and that's what creates that feeling of when you climb a mountain, you have much less atmosphere above you. And here, where we're at 9,306 feet, we'll have that effect of 10,500 feet, sometimes even up to 12,000 feet. It's kind of pressure's version of wind chill, and we, you know, it's just there's much less atmosphere above you at the poles.
And why is there less atmosphere?
A big reason has to do with the centrifugal force of the Earth's, you know, the rotation of the Earth. It's equatorial bulge, it's called. There's more atmosphere at the equators than there is at the poles. And plus the cold air here really just condenses everything. So there's not, relatively speaking, there's not a whole lot of atmosphere above us as there would be at, you know, anywhere else that isn't the North or South Pole.
Cool. Anything else that I should ask about that you'd like to say about the experience of being a weather observer down here?
Oh, it depends on the season. Down here, it's you know, it's I think being a weather observer down here, it's not weather observer specific. It's just once you hear for a whole year and experience that one long day and one long night, because that's essentially what we have. People will ask, is the temperature any different at any certain time of days? And it's like, yeah, it is. It's different in July than it is in January, because that's, you know, we have one sunset, one sunrise, and if you just spend a year down here and feel that whole day progress, you realize how vastly different it is from noon to midnight.
Wow.
You know?
It really is like being on another planet.
Yeah, it is, for sure.
Cool.
All right.
So what is your name?
I'm Victoria Stankovich.
And what are you doing here in Antarctica?
I'm a weather observer.
What does that mean?
Well, our job is basically twofold down here. We work with climatology purposes, so we collect weather data for the record, and then we work aviation purposes. So we help out aviation because they don't have many instruments down here to measure the weather, so it is our job to report to pilots and whatnot what is happening on the surface.
So what kind of stuff do you measure? What kind of stuff do you observe, and how does it work?
We observe cloud heights, the visibility, whether or not it's snowing or if there's ice grains or ice crystals, as well as pressure and temperature and wind.
And how often do you do that?
We do it every hour on the hour, unless there's special criteria that's happening, and then we'll do it more frequently.
So how did you get into doing that kind of a thing?
This is actually very new to me.
Mm.
I have a degree in meteorology, and then I kind of took the research route. So I started working different internships, and I'm working on my master's degree, and decided that I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay in the research in the laboratory setting, and applied for this job to kind of get out of that and get away from computers and get back to the weather and get back outside.
So does it give you a different kind of perspective on weather from, you know, the computer?
It does. It brings you back to the actual weather and what's going on outside, where as of everything else, it was more data and numerical.
What's special about the pole and weather? Is it related to world weather or?
I think the pole is just really interesting. There's not much research that's been done here compared to other parts of the world. And I think it's really fascinating because we can't have instruments down here because it's just too cold. So you have to have actual observers.
Wow. But there are instruments down here.
There are instruments. A lot of them are only set up during the summer, and then they're taken down for the winter time because it gets even colder. But we do have instruments to aid us, especially with temperature and wind and whatnot. So.
And how about the influence of the weather at the pole or at both poles and the rest of the world? I mean, I always hear this like canary in a coal mine thing about the North Pole and the Arctic and stuff. Is there a similar
Is it more
thing?
of a global warming perspective?
Yeah, I mean that's what I've heard, that it's you know, things happen sort of faster or more prominently at the poles, and then they spread to the rest of the world. Is that
I
something?
think it's just easier to observe at the poles. You don't have so much of an influence. We don't have, you know, the human population down here to kind of have that factor. It's just more natural. So that really helps, and the air is very clean here, and I think it's really good just to take data. And plus our data goes back to the 1950s, so we have this continuous data stream, whereas in other parts of the world, you have weather stations that have moved. So it used to be in the middle of the field, but now it's next to a building, so the data's been slightly contaminated.
Right. And so, what was it that first got you interested in meteorology and weather?
Wow, it goes back to grade school. I can't really pinpoint an exact experience. I've always liked physics, I've always liked math, and I knew I wanted to stay in that realm, but I also love being outside. So I figured putting them all together kind of led me to meteorology.
It seems so kind of intangible to me. Does it seem that way to you now after studying it, or?
There was a while when I looked up at the sky and saw equations rather than big puffy clouds. So I'm glad that finally went away. But it's really interesting.
Excellent. Well, thanks. Oh, and let me get your name.
Victoria Sankovich.
I think I got that at the beginning, but I'm not sure. Okay. Okay. So tell me your name.
Katie Coster,
And what are you doing here at the pole?
doing meteorology, so going outside and doing weather observations.
How would you describe weather observation?
Well, here it's to support, primarily, there are two reasons. First is to support the air traffic in and out, and also to create a continuous record of weather data through time.
And what kind of special skills do you need to be a weather observer?
I think you have to be, I'm not a meteorologist, although weather is a passion of mine.
Oh shit! I totally forgot the mic.
Oh yeah, should I look at you or look at that?
Yeah,
Do you
whatever
like
you.
better?
Victoria was looking, and Jeff were looking at me. So that's
Okay.
fine.
Good, I like that better.
Yeah, I think it makes people more relaxed. So, you were saying the special skills that you need to have to be a weather observer?
Right, so I'm not a meteorologist, but I think you have to love weather, obviously, to come here at all. And also you have to have a lot of attention to detail.
What do you love about weather?